The wrench slipped from Owen's hand and clattered against the metal floor. He froze, listening to the echo fade into the vast darkness of the cargo bay. Something had moved in the shadows near the waste disposal chutes. Something that definitely should not be there. Owen picked up his wrench slowly. He had worked night shift maintenance on Waypoint Station for 3 years. He knew every sound, every vibration, every quirk of the old orbital platform. This sound was new. This sound was alive, that he grabbed his flashlight and moved toward the chutes. The beam cut through the darkness, revealing stacks of cargo containers and coils of cable. Then he saw it. A small creature huddled against the wall, no bigger than a house cat. Scales covered its body, but they looked dull and gray instead of shiny. One wing hung at an odd angle, clearly broken. The creature turned its head toward him. Golden eyes reflected the flashlight beam. Owen recognized those eyes from the species database. Drakari, a dragon hatchling from the volcanic worlds 3 systems away. His first thought was to call security. Protocol demanded it. His second thought stopped him cold. The creature was shaking, not from aggression, from fear and pain. Owen set down his flashlight and knelt slowly. The hatchling watched him, but did not run. Maybe it could not run. The torn wing would make flying impossible. The creature made a small sound, somewhere between a whimper and a chirp. "Easy there," Owen said softly. "Let me see that wing." He reached for his toolkit, moving slowly so the hatchling could see everything he did. Owen had fixed 1,000 broken things in his life. Pumps, computers, life support systems. A wing could not be much different from a broken mechanical joint. The hatchling flinched when he came closer, but did not strike. Owen examined the wing carefully. The membrane had torn clean through, and the small bones underneath had bent, but not broken completely. Painful but fixable. "I need to splint this," Owen explained, knowing the creature probably could not understand him. "Going to hurt for a second, then feel better. Promise." He pulled out thin wire and soft insulation foam from his toolkit. Working carefully, he straightened the bent bones and wrapped them gently. The hatchling hissed once, but held still. Those golden eyes never left his face. When Owen finished, he sat back. The hatchling tested the wings slightly, then looked at him with what might have been gratitude, or maybe hunger. Owen had no idea what Drakari ate. The rational part of his brain screamed at him to report this immediately. Station Commander Harris would want to know about an alien life form in the cargo bay. The xenobiology team would take the hatchling for study. They would run tests. Lots of tests. But Owen remembered the fear in those golden eyes. He remembered being young and scared once, when his own ship had crashed and left him stranded. A stranger had helped him then, asking nothing in return. That kindness had saved his life. "Can't leave you here," Owen said, "but can't report you either. Guess you're coming with me." He took off his work jacket and wrapped the hatchling gently. The creature struggled for a moment, then went still. Owen could feel it trembling against his chest. His toolkit clanked on his belt as he stood and checked the corridor outside. Empty. The night shift was always quiet. Most of the crew slept during these hours. Owen walked quickly to his quarters on the lower deck, checking every corner before moving forward. His room was small. Just a bunk, a desk, and a tiny bathroom. Not much, but it was private. He set the hatchling down on his thermal blankets in the corner. The creature looked around nervously, then curled into a tight ball. Owen pulled out more blankets and made a proper nest. The hatchling watched him work, head tilted curiously. When Owen finished, he set his toolkit on the floor nearby. The worn tools gleamed dully in the low light. He needed to file his shift report and check tomorrow's work orders. Owen sat at his desk and started typing. Behind him, he could hear the hatchling shifting in the blankets. The sound was oddly comforting. Hours passed. Owen's eyes grew heavy. The report swam in front of his vision. He put his head down on the desk, just for a moment. When sleep took him, he did not notice the hatchling climb out of the nest. He did not see it approach the toolkit with careful steps. He did not watch as those golden eyes studied each tool with intense focus. The wrench, the screwdriver, the wire cutters, the small welding torch. Each tool was examined, touched gently with a scaled claw, then carefully positioned. The hatchling arranged them in a circle around itself. Not randomly, with purpose, with pattern. The way a student might arrange books before studying. The way a child might arrange toys before playing. Then it curled up in the center of the circle, head resting against the worn handle of Owen's favorite wrench. The same wrench that had fallen in the cargo bay. The same wrench that had started everything. Outside, Waypoint Station continued its slow orbit. Ships came and went. The galaxy turned according to laws that had existed long before humans reached the stars. But in that small room, something new had begun, something that would change everything. The hatchling slept. The humans slept, and the tools lay between them, silent witnesses to the first night of a legend that would echo across 1,000 worlds. Owen's alarm shrieked at him like an angry bird. He slapped it silent and rubbed his eyes. His neck ached from sleeping hunched over his desk. Morning shift would start in 30 minutes. He needed to shower and grab breakfast from the mess hall before his first repair job. Then he remembered. The hatchling. Owen spun around in his chair. The thermal blanket nest sat empty. Panic shot through his chest. Had it escaped? Had someone found it? Then he looked down. The Drakari hatchling lay curled on the floor beside his toolkit. But something was different. The tools were not scattered like he had left them. They formed a perfect circle around the small creature. Each tool faced inward at precise angles. The pattern looked almost mathematical. The hatchling's eyes opened. Those golden orbs fixed on Owen's face. The creature made a soft chirping sound and stood, testing the splinted wing. It moved better already. Drakari must heal fast. You've been busy, Owen said. He knelt beside the tool circle. Did you do this? The hatchling chirped again and touched the wrench with one claw. Then it looked at Owen expectantly. Owen picked up the wrench and demonstrated how it worked. He grabbed a loose bolt from his desk and tightened it, then loosened it again. The hatchling watched every movement with complete focus. Those intelligent eyes tracked his hands like a hawk watching prey. When Owen set the wrench down, the hatchling immediately picked it up with both front claws. It struggled to grip the handle properly. No sums. The tool kept slipping from its grasp. A frustrated hiss escaped the creature's mouth. Here, Owen said. He showed the hatchling how to brace the wrench against its chest while turning with both claws. It took 3 tries, but the hatchling managed to turn a bolt half a rotation. It looked up at Owen with what could only be described as pride that Owen's stomach rumbled. He needed food, but what did the hatchling eat? He pulled out an emergency ration bar and offered it. The creature sniffed it once and turned away with clear disinterest. Right? Different species, different food. Owen thought hard. What did the database say about Drakari biology? Silicon-based life forms. They consumed minerals and metals, not organic matter. He looked at his spare parts bin. Old circuits, broken sensors, scrap metal from various repairs. Owen pulled out a piece of copper wire and held it up. How about this? The hatchling's eyes brightened immediately. It snatched the wire from Owen's hand and bit down. The metal crunched between sharp teeth like a human eating a cracker. The hatchling made a happy chirping sound and looked at Owen hopefully. More? Okay, but I need to heat it first. Owen remembered reading that Drakari digestion required high temperatures. He pulled out his small welding torch and heated a handful of metal scraps until they glowed red. The hatchling watched the process with fascination. When Owen poured the molten metal into a heat-resistant dish, the hatchling dove at it eagerly. It lapped up the liquid metal like a cat drinking milk. Tiny wisps of smoke rose from its mouth. While the creature ate, Owen quickly showered and changed into his work uniform. He could not take the hatchling with him on his rounds. Too risky, but leaving it alone in his quarters felt wrong. You stay here, Owen told the hatchling firmly. Stay quiet. Do not make noise. Understand. The hatchling tilted its head. Owen had no idea if it understood human speech, but those eyes seemed to hold comprehension beyond what he expected. He locked his quarters from the outside and headed to the mess hall. The other night shift workers sat at their usual tables, looking half asleep. Owen grabbed coffee and a protein pack, eating quickly while checking his work orders on his tablet. His supervisor, a heavy-set woman named Rodriguez, waved him over. "You look terrible. Sick. Just did not sleep well," Owens said. Not entirely a lie. "Well, wake up. We have a cooling system failure in Section 7. Been running hot all night." Rodriguez handed him a diagnostic pad. "Fix it before day, shift complaints." Owen nodded and escaped before she could ask more questions. He worked through the morning, fixing the cooling system and 2 broken door panels. Every spare moment, he worried about the hatchling alone in his quarters. When he finally returned 6 hours later, he found something impossible. His broken data pad sat on the desk, the one he had been meaning to fix for weeks. The screen glowed softly. It worked perfectly. Owen picked it up, examining it carefully. Someone had replaced the damaged circuit board and rewired the power supply. The work was flawless, better than Owen could have done himself. The hatchling sat in the corner, surrounded by his tools again. But this time, several small components lay scattered around it, parts from inside the datapad. The creature had completely disassembled the device, repaired it, and put it back together. Owen sank onto his bunk, staring at the hatchling in disbelief. "You fixed it." The hatchling chirped proudly and picked up a screwdriver. "You watched me work with tools for one night and learned to do this." Owen's mind raced. The implications were staggering. This creature was not just intelligent. It possessed an intuitive understanding of mechanical systems that matched or exceeded trained human engineers. Owen thought about what this meant. The station commander would want to study the hatchling, yes, but military researchers would want it more. A species with this level of natural engineering ability would be valuable, extremely valuable. They would take the creature away and never let it go. He looked into those trusting golden eyes. The hatchling had chosen to show him this ability, had trusted him with this secret. "I'll keep you safe," Owen promised quietly. "Whatever it takes. You're not going to be anyone's test subject." The hatchling chirped softly and went back to examining a circuit board. Outside the small room, the station hummed with normal activity. But inside, a human and a dragon had formed a bond that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization. Neither of them knew it yet. 3-star systems away, Elder Skorath stood in the volcanic chamber where the Drakari council met. Lava flowed through channels carved in the black stone floor. The heat would have killed most species instantly. For the Drakari, it felt like home. "The hatchling's trail ends at the human station," announced Pyrith, the eldest of them all. Her scales had turned almost white with age. "Our tracking ships confirm it." Skorath's claws scraped against the stone table. "How long has it been there?" "For days. Maybe 5. Pyrith pulled up a holographic display. The human station appeared, small and fragile compared to Drakari architecture. "Waypoint Station, a minor outpost. 300 human crew members. We retrieved the hatchling immediately." Skorath turned to the other council members. "Prepare 3 warships. I will lead the mission personally." "Wait." Pyrith held up one weather claw. "Consider what we know about humans first." "They are weak," growled Radhek, the youngest council member. His scales still gleamed bright red. "Soft bodies. No natural weapons. They will surrender the hatchling the moment they see our ships." Pyrith shook her head slowly. "I have studied humans for 2 centuries. They are not weak. They are different." "Different how?" Skorath asked, though impatience colored his voice. "They build tools to compensate for physical weakness. They form bonds with other species that make no logical sense. They protect things smaller than themselves, even when doing so puts them at risk." Pyrith enlarged the hologram, showing human settlements across dozens of worlds. They spread across the galaxy, not through strength, but through adaptability and cooperation. "Cooperation is weakness," Radhek said. "We need no other species. We are Drakari. And when was the last time we built something new?" Pyrith asked quietly. "When did we last create instead of simply existing?" Uncomfortable silence filled the chamber. Skorath broke it. "The hatchling is all that matters. Our kind rarely survives to adulthood. Each one is precious beyond measure. We cannot leave it with aliens." "I agree we must retrieve it," Pyrith said. "But I counsel caution. If the humans have harmed the hatchling, we respond with fire. If they have helped it, we proceed differently. Helped it? Radhek laughed. Why would they help a Drakari? That is exactly what concerns me, Pyrath said. Because I do not know, and that means we do not understand humans as well as we think. Skorath considered this. 3 ships. We leave within the hour. But Pyrath, you come with us. If the humans have done something unexpected, I want your counsel. The council dispersed. Skorath walked to the edge of the lava flow and stared into the glowing heat. He had seen 300 summers. He had led armies. He had shaped policy for their entire species. But this felt different. This felt important in a way he could not name. A hatchling lost among humans. Such a small thing. It disturbed him deeply. The warships launched on schedule. Each one measured 300 meters long, built from heat-resistant alloys that could withstand re-entry through a star's corona. Weapons systems that could crack a planet's crust. Shields that laughed at conventional attacks. The pride of Drakari engineering. Inside the command ship, Skorath reviewed what little intelligence they had on Waypoint Station. A simple orbital platform. Primarily a refueling stop and minor repair facility. Nothing strategic. Nothing important. 3 days until we arrive, his navigator reported. Maintain weapons-ready status, Skorath ordered. The moment we detect the hatchling, we retrieve it. Any resistance will be met with overwhelming force. Pyrath sat nearby, studying her own datapad. I have been reading human history. Did you know they once had hundreds of separate nations on their home world? They fought constant wars for thousands of years. Proving they're violent, Radhek said. But they stopped, Pyrath continued. They chose peace. Chose coopération. Now look at them. Present on more worlds than any species except the Velkari traders. Not through conquest, through friendship and trade. Your point, Skorath asked. My point is that we may not understand what friendship means to humans. We Drakari stand alone. We always have. But humans seem to need connection the way we need heat. They form bonds easily, sometimes inappropriately. Pyrath looked at Skorath directly. If a human found our hatchling, it may not have reported it to authorities. It may have tried to help. Why would it do that? Radhek demanded. Because that is what humans do, Pyrath said simply. They save things, even when it makes no sense. The ships traveled in silence after that. Skorath found himself thinking about Pyrath's words. He had never considered friendship before. Drakari did not have friends. They had clan members, allies of convenience, rivals, enemies. But friends? The concept felt alien. Back on Waypoint Station, Owen had no idea 3 warships were coming. He only knew that keeping the hatchling secret was getting harder every day. His supervisor had commented on his distraction. Other crew members had reported strange sounds from the ventilation near his quarters. Someone had asked why his garbage recycling had quadrupled lately. All the metal scraps he was feeding the hatchling. Owen had given the creature a name. Ash. Simple and fitting. The hatchling responded to it now. Chirping happily when Owen returned from his shifts, Ash had grown. Not much, but noticeably. Now the size of a medium dog. The wing had healed completely. The scales had begun to gleam with proper color, shifting between gray and bronze depending on the light. And Ash was building something. Owen had no idea what. The hatchling worked on it every day, using scavenged parts from around the quarters. Circuit board, guide, optical fibers, small power cells. Ash assembled them with careful precision, following some blueprint only it could see. What are you making? Owen asked, watching the hatchling work. Ash chirped but did not stop. Those clever claws connected components with shocking skill. No wasted movement. No hesitation. Pure focused creation punto ONS tablet beeped. A message from Station Command. All personnel report for mandatory briefing in 2 hours. No exceptions. His stomach dropped. They knew. They must know. He looked at Ash, still working on the mysterious device. Whatever happens, I'll protect you. I promise. Ash looked up and chirped softly. Then it went back to building. The device was almost complete now. Just a few more connections. Outside, distant sensors detected 3 large objects approaching from Drakari space. The legend was about to begin in earnest. The briefing room held every crew member who was not actively keeping the station running. Commander Harris stood at the front, his face grim. A tactical display showed 3 red dots approaching their position. Drakari warships, Harris said without preamble. They'll be here in 6 hours. We've received no communication from them. No demands. No threats. They're just coming. Murmurs of fear rippled through the crew. Everyone knew about the Drakari. Ancient, powerful, dangerous. They rarely interacted with other species, and when they did, it usually ended badly. We have no weapons that can stop them, Harris continued. Our shields might hold for a few minutes at best. I've contacted the nearest military outpost, but help won't arrive for 3 days. Why are they coming here? Someone asked. We have nothing they want. Harris shook his head. Unknown, but I want all non-essential personnel ready to evacuate if necessary. Essential crew, prepare to lock down critical systems. Owen sat in the back row, his heart pounding. They were coming for Ash. They had to be. How did they know? Had the hatchling sent some kind of signal? He needed to think, needed a plan. But his mind raced too fast to focus. The briefing ended. Crew members filed out, talking nervously. Owen slipped away and headed straight for his quarters. When he entered, Ash looked up from the device it had been building. The device was complete now. A small box with a crystalline display on top. Ash chirped and activated it with one claw. A hologram appeared. Drakari writing filled the air. Owen could not read it, but he recognized the script from the database. Then the writing faded and images appeared instead. Ash's memories. Owen saw them play out like a recording. The crash, the pain, the fear. Then Owen approaching with his flashlight. Owen fixing the wing. Owen making a nest. Owen teaching about tools. The final image showed Owen and Ash together, tools arranged between them. You made this to tell your story, Owen said quietly. To show them what happened. Ash chirped and touched Owen's hand with one claw. The gesture was gentle, trusting. Owen made his decision. We face them together. I won't hide you. I won't let them think I did something wrong. Come on. He wrapped Ash in a thermal blanket and headed toward the main airlock. Security personnel gave him strange looks, but said nothing. Everyone was too focused on the approaching ships. Owen reached the airlock just as Commander Harris arrived. The commander's eyes went wide when he saw the bundle in Owen's arms. What is that? Harris demanded. The reason they're coming, Owen said. He pulled back the blanket. Ash looked at the commander with curious golden eyes. Harris stumbled backward. Is that a Drakari? Are you insane? How long have you had that thing on my station? 5 days. I found it injured. I helped it. Owen kept his voice steady. They're coming to get it back. You hid an alien life form for 5 days. Harris's face turned red. Do you understand how many regulations you've broken? How much danger you put us all in? Yes, sir. I understand. But I couldn't turn it over for testing. It was hurt and scared. I did what felt right. Harris opened his mouth to respond, but an alarm interrupted him. The Drakari ships had arrived. They hung in space like 3 dark stars, massive and threatening. All personnel to defensive positions, Harris barked into his communicator. Then he looked at Owen. You stay here. With that thing. When they board, you hand it over immediately. Maybe they'll leave peacefully. Owen nodded. Ash pressed closer against his chest, making soft, worried sounds. They waited. Minutes crawled by. Then a communication came through on the main channel. Human station. We have come for our young. Return it immediately, and there will be no conflict. The voice was deep and resonant. It made the deck plates vibrate. Harris grabbed a communicator. This is Commander Harris. We have your hatchling. It's unharmed. We'll return it peacefully. Silence. Then, we will dock at your main airlock. Any weapons fire will be considered an act of war. A massive docking tube extended from the lead Drakari ship. It connected to Waypoint Station with a heavy clang. The airlock cycled. Owen held Ash tighter. The inner door opened. 3 Drakari entered. They had a duct to fit through the human-sized corridor. Scales gleamed like volcanic glass. Claws scraped against metal. Each one stood over 3 meters tall, their presence overwhelming. The largest one in front fixed its gaze on Owen. You have our young. Owen stepped forward. His legs shook, but he forced himself to stay calm. Yes, This is Ash. I've been taking care of it. It, the Drakari's eyes narrowed. The hatchling is not an object. Sorry. Him. I've been taking care of him. Owen carefully unwrapped the blanket. Ash chirped happily and climbed onto Owen's shoulder, balancing there like it had done 100 times. The lead Drakari, Skorath, moved closer. His eyes examined Ash carefully. The healed wing, the bright scales, the alert, healthy appearance. Then Skorath noticed something. The way Ash held a small screwdriver in one claw. The way the hatchling looked at Owen with complete trust. Why did you not report finding it? Skorath asked. Your kind has rewards for discovering alien life forms. Owen met Skorath's gaze directly. He was hurt and scared. Seemed wrong to make him more afraid. So I helped him, fed him, taught him about tools. Tools. Skorath's tone changed slightly. Show me where you kept it. Owen led them to his quarters. The small room felt tiny with 3 massive Drakari inside. They looked at everything. The nest of thermal blankets. The tools arranged neatly on the floor. The repair data pad. The teaching materials Owen had printed out. Pyrith, the elderly white-scaled Drakari, picked up Owen's worn wrench. She examined it closely. Then she looked at the tool arrangement on the floor. Her expression changed to shock. This pattern, she said quietly. This is how we taught our young 10,000 years ago, before we abandoned tools. How do you know this? Owen shook his head. I don't. Ash arranged them that way. I just taught him how tools work. You figure out the rest. Skorath and Pyrith exchanged a long look. Something passed between them that Owen could not interpret. Finally, Skorath spoke. The hatchling will come with us. This is not negotiable. Owen felt his heart break, but he nodded. I understand. He should be with his own kind. Ash made a distressed sound and clung tighter to Owen's shoulder. However, Skorath continued. There are complications. The hatchling has bonded with you. Separation would cause psychological harm. This has never happened before in our history. What does that mean? Owen asked. Pyrith stepped forward. It means we have a decision to make. One that will change everything. Skorath stood in the middle of Owen's small quarters, looking like a volcano trying to fit inside a closet. The other Drakari waited outside, too large for the cramped space. Commander Harris hovered nervously in the doorway. By our law, a hatchling must have a proper guardian, Skorath said. Someone who can teach it our ways, our history, our culture. You are human. You cannot do this. Owen felt Ash grip his shoulder tighter. Understand. But, Skorath continued, and the word hung in the air like a thunderclap. You have demonstrated something we did not expect. You saw a hurt creature and chose compassion over profit. You taught it skills we ourselves have forgotten. The hatchling has learned and grown under your care. Pyrith entered the room, ducking low. She held Ash's device, the one with the holographic memories. I watched what it built. This shows your time together. Every moment of care. Every lesson. Every act of patience. She looked at Skorath. The hatchling chose him. That means something. Were you proposing? Commander Harris asked warily. An arrangement without precedent, Skorath said. Owen becomes Ash's official guardian. But he must come to our homeworld for 3 months each year. Learn our ways. Understand how to raise a Drakari properly. In exchange, Ash remains with him the rest of the time. Silence filled the room. Owen's mind reeled. Leave the station? Travel to the Drakari homeworld? A place where the surface temperature could melt lead. That's impossible, Harris said. I can't spare my best maintenance engineer for 3 months every year. This station barely runs as it is. Skorath turned to face Harris directly. The commander took a step back, despite himself. Then we take the hatchling now. Remove it from the only being it has bonded with. Because it's psychological trauma. Is that preferable? We could provide compensation. Pyrith added, her tone more diplomatic. Technology exchange. Our energy systems are far more efficient than yours. We could upgrade this entire station. Reduce your operating costs by 70%. Make it run better with fewer crew. Harris blinked. You'd give us Drakari technology? Just for one engineer? For the well-being of a hatchling. Pyrith corrected. Our young are precious. Each one matters more than any technology. If this arrangement ensures proper care, the cost is irrelevant. Harris looked at Owen. This is your decision. I won't force you, but think carefully about what you're agreeing to. Owen looked at Ash. The hatchling gazed back at him with those golden eyes full of trust. The same eyes he had seen that first night in the cargo bay. Hurt, afraid, alone. I'll do it, Owen said. Whatever it takes. Ash stays with me. Ash chirped happily and nuzzled against Owen's neck. Then it's decided, Skorath said. You have 1 week to prepare. Then you come with us to our home world for the first 3 months. We will teach you everything necessary. The Drakari left to begin the technology transfer. Harris pulled Owen aside in the corridor. Are you sure about this? You'll be alone on an alien world. Everything there can kill humans. The heat alone requires constant environmental protection. I'm sure, Owen said. Ash needs me. That's enough. The next week passed in a blur. Drakari engineers worked alongside station crew, installing new power systems and environmental controls. The station transformed before everyone's eyes. Systems that had struggled for years suddenly ran smoothly. Owen spent every spare moment with Ash, teaching everything he could. The hatchling absorbed it all like a sponge. Tool use, basic repair, problem solving. Ash's intelligence continued to amaze everyone who saw it work. Other crew members approached cautiously at first. An engineer named Davies watched Ash fix a broken pump in minutes. That thing's incredible, he said. I spent 2 days trying to solve that problem. He's not a thing, Owen said gently. He's Ash. Word spread. Soon engineers were bringing their most difficult problems to Owen's quarters. Ash seemed to enjoy the challenge, tackling each broken machine with focused determination. The hatchling had found purpose in fixing things, just like Owen. Pyrith spent time with Owen privately, teaching him basic Drakari customs and language. Our people value strength and independence, she explained. But you have shown different strength. Strength of character. Strength of compassion. Some of my people may not understand this at first. Will I be in danger? Owen asked. No, you're under my protection and Skorath's. But you may face skepticism. Prove yourself through actions, not words. On the last night before departure, Owen sat in his quarters with Ash. The hatchling had grown again, now the size of a large dog. The wings had developed properly, strong and flexible. The scales gleamed with bronze and gold highlights. Big adventure tomorrow, Owen said. You ready? Ash chirped and activated his memory device. New images appeared. Plans, designs, complex machines that Ash wanted to build. Things that combined Drakari biological understanding with human engineering principles. You've been thinking about this, Owen said, about bringing both species together. Ash nodded. Dragons could not speak human language, but understanding flowed between them anyway. The next morning, Owen boarded the Drakari command ship. The interior was massive, built for creatures 3 times human size. Environmental suits kept him alive in the searing heat the Drakari preferred. Ash flew through the corridors, testing his wings with joy. Other Drakari watched with mixed expressions. Curiosity, skepticism, wonder. The journey to the Drakari homeworld took 3 months at conventional speed. During that time, Owen learned their language, their history, their ways of thinking. Pyrith taught him personally, showing patience he had not expected. Your species fascinates me, she admitted one day. You are weak individually, yet accomplish great things together. You build tools to overcome limitations. You form bonds across species barriers. These are abilities we Drakari lost long ago. Why did you lose them? Owen asked. Pride, Pyrith said simply. We became so powerful biologically that we saw tools as beneath us, saw cooperation as weakness, stood alone because we could. But in doing so, we stopped growing, stopped creating. We have built nothing new in 10,000 years. Owen understood then. Ash represented more than one hatchling. He represented a possible future, a bridge between what the Drakari had been and what they might become again. When the ship finally entered orbit around the Drakari homeworld, Owen stared at the volcanic landscape below. Rivers of lava, mountains that breathed fire, an environment hostile to almost all life. Welcome, Skorath said, to the hardest 3 months of your life. Owen smiled despite his nervousness. He looked at Ash, who pressed against his leg reassuringly. Let's get started, Owen said. The Drakari homeworld made every second a fight for survival. Owen lived in a specially built shelter with walls thick enough to insulate him from temperatures that would boil water. His environmental suit recycled air and maintained safe conditions inside its sealed layers. Without it, he would die in less than a minute, but Ash thrived. The hatchling grew stronger every day in his native environment. His scales darkened to deep bronze. His wings spread wider. He flew through rivers of lava like a human child splashing through puddles. Owen spent his days learning. Drakari elders taught him their language, their customs, their history. He learned how they raised their young in volcanic chambers, how they taught strength and independence from the first day of hatching, how they valued power above all else. You are the first outsider to see our world in 3,000 years, Pyrith told him one evening. They sat in a viewing chamber overlooking a lava flow. What do you think? It's beautiful, Owen said honestly. Harsh, but beautiful. Like your people. Pyrith made a sound that might have been laughter. We are not beautiful. We are powerful. There is a difference. I disagree, Owen said. I've watched you with the hatchlings. The way you teach them. The patience you show. That's beautiful. At night, Owen worked in his shelter on his own projects. He had brought his tools, naturally. Could not imagine being anywhere without them. Ash watched him work, learning human techniques while growing into his Drakari heritage. 1 month into their stay, an ancient device failed in the Great Temple. The structure stood at the heart of the capital city, carved from a single mountain of volcanic stone. Inside, mechanisms 10,000 years old had suddenly stopped working. The elders gathered around the broken device. It was meant to project historical records, showing the Drakari ancestors. But the crystal display remained dark no matter what they tried. The knowledge of how to repair this was lost generations ago, Skorath said grimly. We will have to seal this chamber. Wait, Owen said. Can I look at it? The elders turned to stare at him. A human offering to repair sacred Drakari technology? The audacity shocked them into silence. Please, Owen added. Ash, and I might be able to help. Skorath nodded slowly. You may try, but do not damage it further. Owen approached the device carefully. It was massive, built to Drakari scale. The mechanisms were unlike anything human technology used. Biological components integrated with crystal matrices. Energy drawn directly from the planet's core. But the basic principles were the same. Find a break. Understand the system. Fix what was broken. Ash climbed onto the device, examining it from angles Owen could not reach. The hatchling chirped and pointed to a cluster of crystalline structures. Owen looked closer. There, a hairline fracture in one of the main power conduits. The crystal is cracked, Owen called to the elders. That's why energy can't flow properly. The crystals cannot be repaired, Pyrith said. They grow naturally over centuries. We have no replacements. Owen thought hard. Crystal repair. He had worked with optical fibers before. Similar principles, maybe. Do you have any bonding agents? Something that can fuse crystal structures. The elders looked at each other. Finally, one brought a small vial of glowing liquid. This is used in hatchling medical treatment. It encourages crystalline bone growth. Perfect. Owen took the vial carefully. With Ash's help positioning mirrors to see inside the device, Owen applied the bonding agent to the crack. Then he used a carefully focused beam from his welding torch to activate it. The crystal flared bright. The crack sealed. Energy began flowing again. The device hummed to life. Holographic images appeared, showing ancient Drakari. But these were not the powerful predators Owen expected. These ancient ones worked with tools, built machines, created things with their claws. The elders stared in shock. This cannot be, one whispered. Our ancestors were tool users. You forgot, Owen said gently. Just like you said. You became so powerful you thought you didn't need tools anymore. But your ancestors knew different. Pyrith moved closer to the images, studying them intently. We erased this from our cultural memory. Suppressed it. We wanted to be seen as naturally superior, not dependent on artificial aids. Tools aren't weakness, Owen said. They're intelligence made physical. The ability to see a problem and create a solution. That's not something to be ashamed of. Skorath approached Owen slowly. The massive Drakari looked down at the small human in his environmental suit. You and the hatchling did this together, combining your knowledge and his abilities. That's what Ash has been trying to show everyone, Owen said. That both approaches have value. Biology and technology. Strength and tools. Drakari and human working together. The Elder Council met that night. Owen was not invited, but Ash attended, flying among his elders with new confidence. When the hatchling returned to Owen's shelter, he carried a message. The council had made a decision. Owen would be named as Ash's official guardian permanently. But more than that, they proposed a formal alliance between Drakari and human governments. Technology exchange, cultural sharing, joint projects, all because one human had shown kindness to a scared hatchling. The 3 months ended. Owen and Ash returned to Waypoint Station. But everything had changed. Other Drakari came to study under them. Young ones mostly curious about tools and building. Human engineers worked alongside them, sharing knowledge freely. The workshop Owen set up became famous across multiple star systems. A place where species barriers dissolved in the face of shared curiosity and creation. Technology emerged from that workshop that revolutionized entire industries. Years passed. Owen grew older. Gray touched his hair. But Ash grew magnificent. Fully grown now, massive and powerful. Yet still gentle. Still fascinated by tools. Still devoted to the human who had seen past scales and claws to recognize a frightened child in need point one evening. Owen worked late in the workshop. His hands were not as steady as they once were, but he still loved the work. Around him, students from a dozen species slept in corners, exhausted from the day's lessons. Ash moved through the workshop silently, careful not to disturb the sleeping students. He began arranging tools around them. The same pattern from that first night. The pattern that had started everything. Owen watched and smiled, still teaching them the old way. Ash chirped softly and settled down near Owen's workbench. Their workbench now, really. They had built it together. Outside the workshop, ships from across the galaxy arrived daily. Everyone wanted to learn from a human and the dragon. Everyone wanted to understand how such different beings had created something so special. The legend had spread far beyond what anyone expected. The dragon child who slept beside a human's tools. The morning when everything changed. The proof that kindness builds more than strength ever could. Owen set down his wrench and looked at his oldest friend. Not bad for a scared hatchling and a maintenance engineer, huh? Ash's golden eyes reflected the workshop lights. He made a sound that was almost like laughter. Then he picked up a tool and went back to teaching a young student how to hold it properly. The galaxy had changed because one human chose compassion over protocol. Because one dragon chose to trust. Because tools and kindness together proved stronger than any weapon or wall. And it all started with a wrench, a broken wing, and one simple decision to help.